I know, I really do, that many of y'all are just sick, as am I, of hearing about, discussing failed gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake. I get people calling into the voicemail number that I don't have, that some of y'all have asked for me to have. I'll try to get one, but I have people calling into this non-existent number and saying, Luke, stop talking about Kari Lake. And I hear you, but this is just too outrageous. And I'm only human. And when something's so detached from reality, I can't help myself. And that's what this is. Look at a 53-second clip I'm going to show you. Okay. Small little clip. So much dishonesty, jam-packed, squeezed into this clip I'm about to play for you. Of course, on Trump's indictment.
Well, yeah, it's pretty obvious that it's we the people versus our tyrannical government right now. And there's only one candidate who's willing to stand up to that swamp or the tyranny. And that's President Donald J. Trump. And I think we all know when you say electability, this is a guy who's already won. He won in 2016. He won even bigger in 2020. All that January 6th was a staged riot to cover up the fact that they certified a fraudulent election. And I agree with a lot of what Cash said about impeachment. If we just go back and deal with this fraudulent election and what happened in 2020, we don't have to impeach him because he really isn't, in my opinion, and many others, and you look at the evidence, the true president. We just can, why don't we decertify 2020? And that's the way we deal with.
Why don't we decertify 2020? I'm going to completely mess up the story I'm about to try to tell. But as she's pushing this false, as I was watching that clip, here's what was happening in real time. This is separate from what I was prepared to say about this, but then I have to. She is pushing this idea that Trump's election could be decertified somehow, and then he gets installed president 3+ years after the election is over, because she holds in her heart the hope that she'll somehow become governor of Arizona, right? And she refers to herself from time to time the rightfully elected governor of Arizona, despite her not being that term. And it reminded me of, I'm a huge fan of The Office, okay? And there's this scene in The Office where Michael Scott, the boss, has a rival boss at a different office. And he refers to him as I can't remember the exact language, but like the poor man's Michael Scott. It's like the poor man's me, referring to himself. And goes, that's what he's known around my condo. And that to me exemplifies how Kari Lake lives her life. Around her condo, she's known as the governor of Arizona. And that's the rightful governor of Arizona, as I'm known around my condo, is the vibe I get from Kari Lake, and the vibe I get from Donald Trump for sure. Unfortunately, these people aren't just known as that around their condo in a sad way. They're known as that among millions of Americans in an even more sad way. And it's heartbreaking and disturbing. But to the merits or lack thereof of what she's saying, in that little clip you heard her say that correctly Trump won in 2016 when it comes to the Electoral College. And then he won by even more in 2020. He didn't win. He got more votes than he got in 2016, but he didn't win the election. He lost to Joe Biden. And then the wild claim that we should go back and decertify the 2020 election, which I remind you, Kari Lake, even though indeed luckily she lost in Arizona in 2022, is extremely relevant in MAGA spaces. She's this big superstar, clearly preparing to run for Senate in Arizona and seen as such a hero for some reason, and then is being considered to be Trump's VP running mate. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen, but for a moment it seemed possible. And so she does moments like this, obviously, to try to make the latter option more likely. But she is seen as some reasonable hero in MAGA spaces as she's lying to them, not only about the election, okay, but about the possibility of today, Trump's election, Trump's loss being decertified, and Trump becoming president. That is so ridiculous. Again, not only because of the lies that are the foundation of saying that, but because of the lack of possibility that that could even happen, even if she was correct about the election being stolen, which she wasn't. But even if she was, how on earth logistically would that even happen? The only way that she might be referring to, which is the lie that is spread in MAGA spaces, is the military is still loyal to Trump. Some people think Trump's still running the military. Okay. And some people I've heard when I talk to them at Trump rallies say Obama's in control, but Trump is actually president through the military and Biden's an actor. All those fit together somehow. And so maybe she's saying the military will drag Biden out of there, and all of it doesn't make sense. My brain leaks out of my ears as I cover this, but it must be covered because millions of people, again, tune into nonsense directly, that and things like that. And we have to figure out a way to push back against it, I guess. Whew. Let me know what you think of all that on X or Twitter, Luke P. Beasley. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.